Thank you very much for being here today. I would like to thank the organizers for providing this opportunity to share with you some interesting news. Before I start, unfortunately, I've got two bad news for you. The one is that Tsitsipas has lost to Nadal 3-0, as I looked. The second one is that there are some new accounting standards to be implemented that within this year will affect your profits. If someone has to take care of his core business, unfortunately, should not forget that there are some compliance accounting regulations that he has to follow. So what are those two regulations? They called IFRS9 and IFRS16, and they change the landscape of financial management across industries, I have to say, but there are some severe impacts for the shipping industry as well. A few words about us. We are the specialized unit within Intrasoft International, and we provide solutions using predictive analytics, analyzing big data sets for risk management and IFRS compliance. Pretty much we are all over the place due to the relationship with our mother company, and we do have the ability to undertake large-scale projects around the world. We do invest continuously to the most important resource that a company should have, which is its human capital, and we are proud to say that we have some excellent skills and personalities around the world that sum up to approximately 2,000 colleagues. We do have gained the long-term relationships with the most reputable technology providers around the world. So this is quite important for you to understand that in any case at any IT or risk-compliant projects tend to be a quite big challenge because you always have the headache of trying to communicate between different technologies, different approaches, different landscapes. We have spent most of our time in order to facilitate and not to turn a typical accounting or risk management project to an IT project. For these efforts, we have been awarded as a company throughout the years, and we keep on putting our hard work in order to be client-oriented and serve our clients the best way we can. So, what are those two new challenges? I have to admit that I was quite confused about choosing the best way possible to present to you those two new standards. However, if someone starts explaining them, it was going to get quite boring. Only the colleagues from the accounting departments will give notice, and you know the nearest exit to the room might be for one of you quite far away. So, what is the juicy part of it and how this affected? First of all, the effective dates of those new two accounting standards. For IFRS 9, the game has already started, I'm afraid so. Some of you may already encountered on providing, co-working with your auditors, the IFRS 9 report. However, this is the first half of implementing this new standard. The impact on shipping, I have to admit, it's pretty much moderate. Why? Because the scope of the standard is the recognition of the credit risks that someone undertakes when it has a transaction with a counterparty. Typically, within the shipping industry, counterparties are either well-known and long-term relationships, so it's a portfolio of very low default frequency, or the financial institutions taking part in assessing, managing, and financing the risks that the shipping companies are undertaking with their clients and counterparties. However, the big change with IFRS 9 is that you have to calculate provisions even for those very good AAA clients that you are having long-term relationships. That means that you have to provide to your auditors, to your capital markets regulators, but most importantly, to banks and other creditors or investors, statistical proven track records about the current creditworthiness of your counterparty, but most importantly, for the forward-looking approach. That means that someone has to develop risk models about the possibility, the probability of this counterparty will either delay or default a promise to honor a contract. So far, this has been done through the existing regulation of IAS 39 that had a very strict rule. Whatever it is above 180 days, someone should make a provision. It was quite dodgy and fudge way to determine what kind of a promise was overdue or not. Now, because of the implementation of this particular standard within the banking sectors, all industries around the world, including shipping, should follow banking treatment about how they are assessing withholding capital as being a typical commercial bank by financing, providing credit to their counterparties. In a more detailed manner, that means that you have to provide a provision matrix that is going to be derived as an output of calculating provisions by expected losses, probability of defaults, loss given defaults, and all others relative to IFRS 9 banking-related KPIs. As I said, this is not the only standard that is being ineffective within this fiscal year. We have the new one called IFRS 16. Now, this is a most important standard for someone to look on because it changed the way that you financially and accounting treat bareboat, time charter, and other contracts. So instead of treat them as leasings, these are going to be treated as assets. That means that you have to calculate depreciations and financial costs. As I said, it's not about looking how the day-to-day business will articulate. It is most importantly to provide those statistically proven records by ensuring transparency, most importantly, not to your auditors, but to the capital markets regulators and to the banks. The problems of implementing those two new standards are pretty much going down to the raw data. There are too many, they are in different sources, they have various types of formats and data extracts, and not only that, you have to calculate them in a way that it's not within your day-to-day business. It's not accounting, it's econometrics, and far beyond that, you have to actually derive conclusions. It's not enough to work with an Excel spreadsheet for many reasons, but most importantly, it does not provide certainty of security and business continuity. So this is quite hard for you to digest, but what Intrasoft through WEMETRIX has done is taking all those problems, put it in a box, and we said we don't have to care about how you extract, how you are going to digest, how you are going to calculate your raw data, no matter what the ERP that you are using is. We are going to do that for you in a quite nice and easy way without consuming resources from your company. And then we are going to be liable in providing the IFRS 9 and IFRS 16 reports. So adding to those benefits, I have to say that use technology and science where you don't have to invest in man-hours for something that is not your job. And most importantly, you don't have to take accountability in order to be compliant with those new standards, because through the use of new technologies, as Intrasoft through WEMETRIX has developed, someone can rest assured, have a good night's sleep, and having us providing all the testimonials about the results in order to be fully compliant with the new standards. Thank you very much.